Welcome back to Was, the podcast exclusively for people who believe she's a fascist because she controls the railways and the flow of commerce. We are your hosts as always. I'm Nick.
I'm not a fascist. It's
one of my favorite moments in that movie.
Absolutely. That entire scene at the school is like such a
So
bomb. That's the Oppenheimer bomb of Barbie. Is
Absolutely.
That school? But and it comes about halfway in.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess we'll get to Oppenheimer later.
Yeah, we'll get to both of these movies later.
Yeah, but I'm Andrew Elsley, and I welcome back. We're on schedule.
Yay!
Talking about our favorite movies of 2023, but we're also actually, I guess, the only other thing I watched this week was another movie from 2023 that's not going to be on the list.
Gotcha. Okay.
Got it. I would. It took me 2.5 days. Oh, actually, I can talk about. I finally watched Paddington 2 as well.
Yay!
I had watched Paddington. Oh, have I talked about Mean Girls?
No, you have not.
Oh, I saw Mean Girls.
Okay.
I loved it. I mean, okay, it's completely different from the first one, and I like it. Kind of follows the same story. It does a really good job as far as like hitting those beats of the original one. It does some blatant like recreations of scenes, which is fine.
This is Tina Fey's The Producers is what it is. It is the movie musical of the movie. It was a movie, and then it went to Broadway, and then it was a movie musical.
And that's fine.
It's good
at the Emmys this past week.
Yeah.
Whenever they were doing, like, Amy Poehler brought that up, and she said, and that's and Tina Fey came over. It was fantastic. They are two of my favorite comedians of all time.
Absolutely.
Tina is in my top 3 influences of all time.
I hope Lauren wasn't pulling our chain, and that when he does eventually go back into his sarcophagus, Tina will take over SNL.
He's gonna dig into the ground like a cicada. He's like one of the he's like and that's not like a joke about it, like I don't know what he is personally, but
he's Mumra, the ever living. But he's straight from Thundercats.
He's just one of those people who should kind of exist some other time in history, just because like that man's like managerial skill of like putting together some of the funniest people, a collection of some of the funniest people. I mean, and also he's evolved. He's continued to like allow like new type of comedians come onto the show, like Sarah Sherman. She's the weirdest comedian like
of all time.
But then he also like has Molly Kearney. She's new. I've loved like Kate McKinnon.
Oh, yes.
Where he let her thrive, man.
Yes.
So it's
little known fact, Gary Oldman was actually in Dracula was actually just past Lorne Michaels, I believe.
So okay.
Yeah.
So spoiler, The Last Voyage of the Demeter did not make my top 10. But
okay.
But so he's the Dracula at the end of Last Voyage of the Demeter. So I mean, there's sacrifice, I guess.
What we're saying is Lorne Michaels may or may not be Nosferatu.
He might. I think he might just be immortal. Let's just let's not put like a label like
he's Mumra the ever living from Thundercats.
Okay. Oh, okay.
The mummy looking guy.
Yeah. I didn't really watch that show growing up, if I'm being honest.
I hate you. What?
Understandable. But no, I liked Mean Girls. It was definitely, man, you literally like are waiting for each of like Renee Rapp's new song. Like she only has like 3, and they kind of tease a couple, and she doesn't do anything, but man, that girl can sing. And like It's a lot of fun. I love Angourie Rice. I've loved her since like The Nice Guys. She was in the Spider-Man movies as well. I loved her. She's always good. But yeah, the Karen and Gretchen and what's her name?
I'm guessing. I'm sure Tina Fey is back. I know Jenna Fisher's there. Uh, I love me some Busy Phillips. So like, I'll watch anything that has Busy
You know,
Phillips in it.
she only has like two scenes, and like
Aww.
they don't really let her do anything in it.
Aww.
She does get I think she gets the cool mom line in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it. I like the movie a lot. It's not going to be for everyone. It's very similar to Wonka. I think Wonka is a little bit better than this is, but
Okay.
it's similar to Wonka. Like this is going to be like very for a very specific group of people. And you know what? My favorite part of my showing, it was I went to a 10 p.m. showing,
Oh God.
and uh,
That's past my bedtime, man.
on the to in my row there was a woman who looked about my age,
Mm-hmm.
and she had two very young kids with her, like
Ah.
baby, like 1 year old and 3 year old. And I was like, you know what, like she probably loved Mean Girls growing up. This is probably the only chance that she has to go see this was at 10
Oh
p.m.
sure.
So, like, and they didn't bother me. Like, they kind of like she had to wrangle them a little bit every once in a while, but it didn't bother me that they like were there because I was like, oh, she's here to enjoy this movie because well, why else would she be at a movie at 10 p.m. with two very young children?
Yeah.
So this is like the only chance she had, and that added to my experience. I just kind of enjoyed the experience for her just thinking of that. So
Gotcha.
but yeah, I like the movie. I A lot of really fun musical, like it's a straight up musical.
Awesome.
And
I do love a musical.
it's a lot of fun. So
It's no Annie, get your gun though.
yeah. I've never actually watched a
Hashtag inside
production of it.
joke.
I've never actually watched a production of Annie Get Your Gun.
I may have been in it. For me, I got into a show that I am very late to. Uh,
Oh, okay.
I
One of the
listen
best
to a
pilots
lot.
ever.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts. One of my favorite set of podcasts is from The Ringer, specifically Andy Greenwald and Chris Ryan usually do a podcast on Prestige TV, and they just this week came out with a sub-genre podcast called Stick the Landing, where they talk about they talk about if the finale episodes of beloved shows stuck the landing, like what they felt about the finales. And their first episode was on Friday Night Lights, the television show. I never watched the TV show. I've never seen an episode of it until recently. And I love the movie. I thought the movie starring Billy Bob Thornton was
And Connie Britton,
fantastic.
technically.
Yeah, and Connie Britton. Yeah. So I decided to. I was like, hell,
Throw on the show.
I'm gonna check it out. Holy crap, that is one of the best pilots of a television show that I have ever watched in my life. I also would like to state, just for the record, on this would be now placed on the internet for all eternity. I would like Kyle Chandler and Connie Britt to just be my mom and dad, just forever.
Oh man.
It's
Like
an
it is.
amazingly shot
But
pilot.
just
Like Peter Berg
oh yeah.
knocked it out of the park.
Oh no, it's one of the it's a very voyeur type of movie show. Like it very much shoots a lot of like candid, and
It
it's done very well. And like
it's
the
shot like it's shot like the movies of that time.
yeah, and well, I don't know. It's kind of like it's very much its own style. It's a very Texas kind
It
of feel.
it's it seems like a very timeless show as well. Like perhaps the further I get into it, I'll be like, oh, this is very like late aughts, early 20 teens. but I feel like at least the pilot for me is very timeless. Like it's
Yeah,
just as relevant today as it was in 2006 or 7 or whatever when it released.
yeah. And the first season is one of my favorite seasons of television. It's kind of like the first season of Heroes. Around the same time, they were
Yeah.
just both very strong shows, and this first season was great.
We
And I really
we
do
used to be
think
a
that,
society that had good television, Drew.
like, also in one of the best societies now, man.
Yeah.
Uh,
It was a joke.
I know, but that's what I do to your jokes is
I
them.
know.
I step on your jokes all the time. That's kind of my thing. Uh, it's not conducive to a good podcast, but at least I acknowledge it. Uh,
Yes.
but it's a great show, and I really do think it sticks the landing. If I'm being honest,
Again, I'm going to get there,
at
but
the end of that
I
fifth
am
season,
thoroughly impressed by the pilot. I've watched a couple more episodes as
the first
well.
season is also
Um,
very long. It's a
yes, it's
very
20.
long season.
It's traditional NBC television. It's 22 episodes, but then the writer's strike made the second episode or second season 15 episodes, and then the final 3 episodes are 13 episodes apiece, or
Yeah,
the final 3 seasons, excuse me.
which
Um,
felt more appropriate.
sure, sure. I also ended up watching some of the 7th season of Rick and Morty. I had been behind. Um, for anybody who says that they can tell the difference between the voice actors from Justin Roiland to the 7th season being new voice actors, they're full of shit.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
because there's no discernible difference,
and it doesn't even
and
matter.
it
It
doesn't
does.
matter. Yeah,
Who cares? I like great. You're loyal to that guy. Why are you loyal to
who
that guy?
cares? Like, good for you guys, I guess. It's the same as like the Snyder Bros. Um,
But the season was fine. It wasn't like it wasn't like they're a monumental season. It
no,
was a
no,
good season.
it was good. It was a solid season. And then I started watching The Curse with.
I don't have Showtime.
Well, I'll give you my Paramount Plus
Yeah,
login. With Nathan and
Fielder and Emma Stone.
yeah, Field and Emma Stone, and that is a difficult fucking watch.
Yeah,
It
I've
is
heard. I think
a
anything Nathan
very
Fielder does.
difficult
I think
watch,
anything Nathan Fielder does is
but it's also
intentionally bad.
brilliant. Like it's
Yeah,
brilliant at the same time as being difficult.
yeah.
Which, yeah, you're right. That's pretty much like Nathan for You was that, and it was a comedy show.
Yeah. And
I
then the
still,
rehearsal as
yeah,
well.
the rehearsal is so good.
I only watched
But
the first episode.
yeah, no, Nathan for You. The thing that always sticks out to me that I always remember is the where he's has to escape the straitjacket, and if he does it in a certain amount of time, the robot will pull his pants down in front of a group of children, and he'll be a registered sex offender.
I don't think I saw that episode,
Oh,
and
it's
now I have to find it.
yes.
Uh,
But yeah, so just catching up on some TV. The semi-annual rewatch of The West Wing has also begun. Because damn it, that show is so freaking good. Well, I mean, season like 5 and 6 you can take out and then bring them back for the last season, but like seasons 1 through 4 are legitimately some of the best television ever.
I remember my sister watched it a bit during the pandemic. I never really got into that one. I
Mhm.
got more into Veep, and now
Oh,
I'm considering
oh,
getting
Veep.
into Succession here soon, trying
Veep.
that out.
How good is Julia Louis Dreyfus? Like
It
seriously, just
it,
how
it was her, but it
amazing
was
is
also
she?
just like the entire team.
Tony Hale is fantastic in
Yeah,
it.
I
Um,
the entire team, like Anna Klumsky was one, like,
Anna Klumsky deserved like Emmys for that.
and I feel like I'm alone in this, but legitimately one of like the first time I watched it, one of the funniest things I ever saw was Julia Louis-Dreyfus, her daughter, the first time she cried, it was
Mhm.
the funniest thing in the world to me. Like, it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen on TV.
I can't decide if Matt Walsh or Timothy Simmons are funnier, because both Mike and Jonah are hilarious characters, but
I, I
for two
liked I liked
totally
Mike
different
better. I liked
reasons.
Mike better just
Yeah.
because Mike,
Oh, Matt Walsh is perfect in that role.
yeah, I mean, but he was kind of in every episode, and he
Hmm.
contributed a lot to the horror, like how poorly ran. Like he was the
Sure.
worst, like press secretary.
Oh, it was the absolute worst.
Like he
Um,
was not qualified for that job. But the thing is, he got it done. But
yeah.
also he was the job's kind of pointless.
Yeah, he was awful at his job, but he got it done. But no, the whole cast was great. I mean, Gary Cole was on there for like a majority of the series.
Yeah.
Kevin Dunn, who's kind of a that guy, is fantastic in it. Geez, Sam Richardson. We get Sam Richardson
Oh
for like over
yes.
half of the series.
Then doesn't he become
Um,
president? Isn't that the series finale? He becomes
I, I,
president.
I believe so.
Wait,
So
why can't I think? Oh my god, why can't I think of his name?
Dietrich
It's
Bader is there.
he's Richard Splett.
Yep, Richard Splett.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna have to rewatch Veep. I'm in the middle of rewatch. I'm watching all the way through for the first time. I've seen almost every single episode, I'm sure, of King of the Hill.
Oh, oh, so good.
Like it approached the stuff that you think it's going to be bad about, and it kind of does a good job on a lot of things. I mean, obviously it's a little dated because it started in like the mid 90s,
Yeah,
but you
it
know
does.
what,
It
they
is
approached
responsible.
and
Go
did a
ahead.
lot, man.
Yeah,
it
they
it
did.
was it accepted things better than
Yes,
anybody would have expected.
absolutely, and
And I
it
hate the,
is.
oh, go
It
ahead.
is responsible for two of the greatest memes slash just things to ever come into pop culture lexicon. The if those children could read meme where Bobby has the sign on the window.
I can't remember it. I don't
Oh,
remember that meme.
it's like a school for the blind or like the special education school or something like
Yeah.
that. He's got a sign on the window, and the guy's like, "If these kids could read, they'd be very upset." And they always use it for like sports and stuff like that. It's a great meme.
Huh.
But then Dale's pocket sand,
Yeah.
pocket
Cha-cha!
sand.
Cha-cha!
Yeah.
Uh, I always like when I think of King of the Hill, one of my favorite lines has always been, "That's my purse. I don't know
I don't know
you."
you.
That's always, and also, I mean, the voice cast alone
Oh,
too
it's
is.
fantastic.
I mean, I can't think of the Mike Judge, and I don't. I hate Beavis and Butthead. I
It's
I
not for
never I
everybody.
never liked it. It's the same thing with like Ren and Stimpy. It was just that kind of that gross or like horrible like humor. I just like didn't like as a kid. Well, actually, I
I get it.
wanted to watch that stuff as a kid, but my parents wouldn't let me. So I just like, and then whenever I got to a point where I could watch whatever I wanted, it just
Mm-hmm.
didn't appeal to me.
No,
Uh,
totally get it.
though I did watch Cow and Chicken, and that was weird.
Weird.
But but the thing is, I actually like a lot of Mike Judge stuff because I liked the show on HBO. What was that? With Kumail, Silicon Valley.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Sorry.
like Silicon Valley. I liked
Yeah,
what else?
I was blank.
Office Space
Thomas
is good.
Middleditch and all those
Yeah.
guys. Yeah.
Office
Office
Space
Space
is
is
good.
fantastic.
Yeah, so
Another Diedrich Bader joint.
yes.
Love that guy.
He did show up in a movie that of course I pointed out in a predominantly black cast. I was like, oh, and Dietrich Bader. Can't forget Dietrich Bader. Hey, at least I called myself out on
Yeah.
it. But yeah, oh, we were talking about Veep, and then I talked about King. Where are we? What day is this? Yeah,
It is Thursday, January 18th.
And then okay, I kind of brought it up earlier. I finally watched Paddington 2. It's like one of the
Yes.
highest rated movies of all time.
A
It
99 on Rotten Tomatoes.
and it's good. I mean, it's like really really good. It's like but it's not like the best movie I've ever watched. It's not even like the best movie I watched this week.
No, it's to each their own, man.
But I loved it. I mean I like I don't know how I feel, but you know what happened? Of course, the smile of Sally Hawkins got me to cry at the very end too. I mean, it was part of the whole story. But I mean, Sally Hawkins has that smile that just makes you want to cry. I don't know if that's a compliment, but that's how I feel. I don't know. She's like the perfect person for that kind of like moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she had sex with a fish. And but you know what? I love that role too. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies of that year. It's also I'm partial because it's my favorite director.
Yeah.
But yeah.
God.
How about we take a break and then we'll get to our
Yeah,
rest.
that sounds like a good idea.
All right. Hey Nick, we're back.
Ah! Sorry.
Oh,
Every time.
instinct.
Every
Instinct.
time.
Okay.
Every time.
I thought we got past it. I was like, man, he's gonna know. He's gonna know I'm gonna come back. And this time I actually came in like a normal person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was weird.
yeah, that was a weird reaction. Read the room, Nick.
Yeah, so sorry.
I'm gonna have to learn to not be so serious because like
Why
I'm going
so serious?
I'm going to a friend's improv show tomorrow, and I'm
Okay.
probably going to be signing up for some improv classes because also I want to take some improv and acting classes real bad.
Okay. I
Yeah.
like it.
I'm just I want to do something. I'm bored.
I'm gonna do stuff.
Yeah. All right, Nick. How about we go over what we've revealed so
Of
far?
course.
Uh, I'll go first
Okay.
because last week you went first. Okay, Nick. For my number 6, I went with Wonka. For my number 7, which I liked Wonka, like it was the
Yeah.
better musical this past year. Or was it? Yes, it was the better musical of this past year. My number 7 was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which was Nick's number
My number
4.
4,
My number 8 was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, which was
which was
Nick's
my
number
number
7.
7.
Well, I should have let you go first. My number 9 was Saltburn. And my number 10 was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which was Nick's number 9.
That is correct. So my number 6 was Evil Dead Rise. My number 8, Air. And my number 10 was Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves.
Yeah. I like your list a lot.
I like your list quite a bit. Although I have not seen Wonka, so I cannot speak to it.
I think you've seen the rest of them except, well, actually, I don't know. You've seen 3 of the next 5 of mine, so.
Okay. I know you've seen 4 of my top 5.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
All right. How about you go first because you only have 5, 3, 2, and 1. So
Yeah, and I'm only gonna be able
quick.
to I'm only gonna be able to speak about one movie by myself because I guarantee you haven't seen it. My number 5 is John Wick Chapter 4.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
No shit. John Wick Chapter 4 brings this runaway train to a conclusion. I gotta tell you, the John Wick movies in general are just surprisingly engaging. I mean, say what you will about Keanu Reeves, the man is obviously a saint and he deserves to be protected at all costs. He is not exactly a classically trained actor.
Yeah, I had a real
not
hard
a lot
time.
of not a lot of range in the Keanu Reeves.
I had a hard
vault.
time in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah,
I had a real hard time.
I mean, that was early Keanu. Let's just let's
cut him
preface
some
it.
slack. Yeah.
The only thing he had before that was some bit parts, and I think Bill and Ted before that. The first.
Parenthood. Parenthood, maybe.
Yeah, Parenthood, maybe. Parenthood was 91, 92.
I had a hard
Uh,
time watching Parenthood, man.
I
Rick
love
Moranis
Parenthood.
was a dick.
Shut up. I love
Rick
Parenthood.
Moranis was a dick in the movie,
Yeah,
and
well, you know what?
it's not
He's
the
a
Rick Moranis
great
I wanted.
actor.
It's not the Rick
Anyway,
Moranis I needed.
no, John Wick Chapter 4, like I said, it's the conclusion of the quadrilogy, I guess you'd call it, the anthology. Uh, it is balls to the wall. Like, just from the moment of go, you are on the edge of your seat. It goes to interesting locales. There's just amazing action set pieces. Uh, we get a Skarsgård.
Yeah.
You know,
Bill.
you get more Lawrence Fishburne. It's a lot of fun, and you know what? It's all about revenge, and I mean you're coming in for the action. It's
Oh yeah.
probably
Oh, I know.
it is probably, in my opinion, one of the best action films of the last 10 to 20 years.
And I
Uh,
that's what I hear. I wish I for some reason I wish it interested me. I just I'm not a huge fan of like guns and like the
yeah.
like it and not just like out of any principle. It's just they've just never interested me. Like I never really grew up on action movie. Like
No, I get it.
I watched like True Lies growing up. That's like the only action
Ah,
movie I really watched.
and
Uh,
what a great action movie it
I know.
is.
I mean,
Thank you,
James
James
Cameron,
Cameron.
Jamie Lee Curtis,
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tom Arnold in probably his best role ever.
uh, why can't I think of his name? The he's sadly passed. Uh, Game Over Man.
Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton. Bill Paxton's in it as
Game
well,
over, man.
and his scene as the the guy who's posing as a spy. Yeah. Okay. But yeah. No. John Wick Chapter 4. Sorry.
I just think it is a solid ending to this movie franchise if it does, in fact, if Keanu's part, if John Wick is done here. We know we're getting a ton of John Wick adjacent stuff.
Yeah.
You know, Ana de
The
Armas
hotel.
has you know, the ballerina coming out this year, I believe. The Continental mini series was on NBC and Peacock, I believe. So we know we're getting more John Wick like universe properties, but if this was in fact the swan song for Keanu Reeves' character in the movies, then man, they went out on an incredibly high note, and that's saying something because that first and second film, the third film I wasn't huge on, but the first and second film were both bonkers good. The first film being just coming out of nowhere and being so good is awesome, and then you get really high levels of execution, at least in the second and fourth films, in my opinion, and that's just amazing to be able to pull off. So, my number 5 film of 2023 was John Wick Chapter 4.
Right. I hear great things. A lot of the people I follow like it. It just I don't know.
Doesn't interest you?
Yeah. I
Totally get
don't,
it.
Yeah, I don't know why. All right. So okay, my number 5 is, let's just not beat around the bush. It is an import
Ooh. Okay.
from our friends in Japan.
Yeah. Yeah. There are
They're
allies.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
There are
assumed.
friends.
I was like,
There
but
are
is that a
friends.
weird way to phrase that?
Kind
I
of
think
weird, but
so.
yeah, there are friends.
But who gave us from from Toho Studios Godzilla -1, and man, was this like just a gut punch of a movie that
I
was so great.
cannot believe I have this ranked higher than you.
I know, but I liked other movies more.
This is my number 2 film of 2023.
Okay, I get get it. It really hit me, especially whenever I watch it. It's just like thing is, right now I've got Shin Godzilla and this one because I watched them so close to each other.
I mean, I get it.
I'm
Shin
having a hard.
Godzilla gives you, you know, copiers, and
That's my.
that just
I loved
that
it
just
so much.
that just can't be beat.
I know. But no, this one was so good because man, like you care so much more about the people. I mean, you care about the people in Shin Godzilla as well, but you you get a very intimate story that, like, honestly, um, besides one other movie that I did not get a chance to see this year, uh, I think rivals this. I'm just gonna put it out there just because I don't think you saw it either. Past Lives.
I did not get
I've
to see it. No,
I've
I've heard
heard
it is
also is like,
absolutely brilliant, though.
yeah, but I heard here it's also a like a gut punch. So but this one is probably my favorite like personal story of the year. I think just that our character that we follow, uh and the situations that like he's in and how he's responding, and then how the people around him like they become like a really great team to be the only people who really can combat this obstacle or whatever. So but I loved it. I think it was just it's one of the best like personal stories of the year. So that has Godzilla. I mean, and Godzilla is brutal. Your mic's off.
No, I'm with you. This is a very personal movie. Obviously, it is a movie about trauma, about grief, about overcoming those things, and happens to have a giant kaiju in it, which is pretty freaking cool. I love the evolution of Godzilla in this film. I
Yeah.
love that, the first time we see Godzilla is within the first 10 minutes of the movie, and it's relatively small compared to what we get later in the movie. It's almost like what you would imagine a T-Rex being, on this small island, and fast forward, we get this full-fledged monster, attacking the streets of multiple Japanese cities, and but the pull for this movie is the story of its characters, of its human characters, and their growth through the movie, and how they adapt their lives post war, post
Loss.
basically shame,
Yeah.
post loss. Uh, and it's a very touching story. Like, it's an incredibly touching story. How these three random people come together and form this family. When you add his quote unquote work friends, you've got this multi generational, from all walks of life family
Yeah.
that he's built. Um,
And you love every single one of them, even like the
yeah,
neighbor who's originally mad at him.
yeah,
She
who's like a shithead.
Yeah, her, and then you have the scientist who ends up becoming very important, and
Yes.
but he just so happens to work for the government, and
Yeah.
they're taking care of the mines, which
Yeah.
I mean, the mines are part of the the war and everything is part of the
Mhm.
reason why
Yeah.
Godzilla is this, and yeah, and then you have the two guys who also work
On the boat with
on the
the
boat,
yeah.
who are different versions of soldiers. Just one just didn't have to go,
Yeah.
and so you have different perspectives from like all three, and then the scientist, and it becomes just like it becomes kind of like Shin's Godzilla whenever like they're kind of devising a plan and
A little
stuff.
bit, yeah.
But then this one has one of my favorite like creative ways of disposing of Godzilla,
Disposing of Godzilla, yeah.
and
Agreed.
it I loved it. I
Yeah.
couldn't wait.
I
I
I am still blown away that they created what they created on the budget they were given. Um Absolutely blown away by the special effects, and the
practical
VFX,
effects
practical effects, the fact that they spent in
relatively little,
modern movie production, so little to
and it
create such.
looks so
Oh, it
amazing.
looks brilliant. And on top of that, like, I really want to get out and see that black and white version. Like I
Yeah.
want to see it. Um, it looks so good. But yeah, I absolutely adored this movie. I saw it in theater opening weekend, uh, and then saw it
Same
again
here
the
because
next
yeah,
the next week.
well, originally it was only supposed to have like a 2 weekend
Yeah,
run, and then the demand became so high, and it's still in theater.
still in theaters,
It was
and
only supposed to
just
be there for 2 weeks.
yeah, and just last week they released the black and white version last
Yeah,
Friday. So like this movie has staying power, um, and that's why it's in our top 10, both of our top tens.
yeah, top fives.
Yeah,
It's a great movie. I'm thankful for this movie because
I'm glad
I feel
movies
like
like this still exist.
I'm happy. Yeah, they're allowing a really great story for like in it that involves Godzilla. And I'm gonna
Mhm.
continue to bring it up. Uh, that we've gotten two very very good Godzilla movies. We get the fun Godzilla movies over here, and I'm not crapping on the Universal ones that we have right
The
now.
MonsterVerse.
Yeah, I'm not crapping. That's for a completely different type of
Yeah,
audience. They're completely different types of movies.
it's equally important and equally fun. It's just a different movie for different people.
Yeah, but we got two very personal ones with Shin and minus one. So I love it. I This is what
Oh yeah, no, I love
yeah,
it,
it's what
and just
movies are for. It's
to
supposed to be fun sometimes.
prop up the
Sometimes
MonsterVerse
hard,
just
but
a yeah, to prop up the MonsterVerse a little bit. With that, we got Monarch,
yeah,
which is just
fantastic.
a baller television show.
Yeah. I still have the
So
last
like,
2 episodes to watch.
yeah, same here. But yeah, Godzilla minus one. Go like run to your local theater and freaking see it if you haven't.
Yeah, it's great. All right, Nick, I don't think you saw this one, but my number 4,
Do we get to talk about Across the Spider Verse again?
I mean if you want to.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. I mean we can. Uh I wish you had told me. I would have rewatched it. But my number 4, once again, I don't think you saw this, uh, but this is also an import from Australia. It's Talk to Me.
No, I have not got to see that yet.
This was a also just a horrible like feeling movie. It's just this one is also all about grief and basically that grief is used against you, and it targets something else that like may be more appealing, but it needed you to be there, and that's what this movie is, and it's like a tight 90 minutes with one of the best performances I've seen from what's her name, Sophie Wilde. She is so great in the movie, but this movie also has one of the most jarring scenes in a horror movie I've seen in a couple years, um, of this boy being hurt. And it happens so fast, and it happens so fast right after just like a very fun scene. You could feel the ominous of how poorly this can go, but it's just like a joyous scene. This movie is also kind of like a party movie, like a high school party movie, but just in a horror form. That just like the party just never stops. And like I loved this movie. This movie also gets weird sometimes, like super
I like
weird.
it. I like weird.
But it's just a really really good movie. It's a like I think it's a top 10 horror movie of the decade so far.
Wow, that's and we've had some really good horror come out in the first 3+ years of this decade.
I'd almost put it in the top 5 top horror of the decade so far.
I need to go ahead and rent it. I think I can rent it for like $6.
Oh, and then also like one of the like there's a great song that came from this that gets played on TikTok, and unfortunately like a lot. This is a very popular song on TikTok, but like you'll finally whenever you watch it, you'll be like, oh, that's where that song is from, and you're like, man, nobody's going to watch this movie because this movie's like some people are going to watch this movie, but this one's a kind of a fucked up movie.
I like it.
Uh, uh, and yeah, you get some very very graphic visuals, but it's man, this movie hit me, and I love this movie. I want a couple more of this, and I
Yeah.
hate saying that about a horror movie because like horror movies should just stand on their own, but this one just has potential to just continue. I didn't think Smile does. Well, actually, no, Smile clearly has a potential too, but I really enjoyed that first Smile movie.
Oh, so good.
Um, whenever I eventually found, like, finally watched it, I don't know why I avoided it, but it was like just the performance in that movie was really great by wish I could remember her name. Sosie Bacon.
Mhm.
But yeah, but Talk to Me, I could not recommend this movie enough, but you have to just be willing to deal with some very graphic violence. It's kind of similar to Possessor, which I think came out in 2022 or 2019. But man, that one has some graphic violence, and that one starts immediately too at graphic violence. But this one has like a different kind of violence. But yeah, I love Talk to Me. It's one of the
I
it's
definitely need to rent
fantastic.
it.
So all right, Nick, what is your number three?
All right, we're getting into the nitty gritty now.
Oh yeah, I mean I guess we are because
Yeah.
yeah.
Two movies left for me. Uh, well, let's not beat around the bush. We talked about it in the cold open. It's Barbie
Okay.
because I am Knuff.
Oh, hold up.
Uh, oh, I
I
love it.
completely forgot about this.
So not only is oh man, that looks super fucking comfortable. Not only was Barbie just a great financial success, it is in fact the
Cultural.
highest grossing film of 2023. It is the 14th highest grossing film of all time. Um, Not only does it have one of the most amazing casts in the history of movies, which is something that I will say about another movie on my top five here shortly.
Yeah.
Uh, but it
Like
actually
ensemble
has,
cast. Like
yeah, ensemble
ensemble
cast,
cast,
yeah.
yeah.
Uh, it just has something to say, and it says it in an incredibly ingenious way.
And the fact that
Uh,
America Ferrera has so far been just completely shut out of any kind of award talk,
so ridiculous.
I think it just happened too earlier in the
Yeah,
year. But the thing is, so did Oppenheimer, and you know what? Robert Downey
I was
Jr.
about to say.
win the
Yeah,
gonna win the Academy Award, but whatever.
yeah.
And Cillian Murphy is.
Well, you talked about Kate McKinnon earlier when we talked about
God,
SNL.
Weird Barbie.
Weird Barbie is the best, man.
Because
Kate McKinnon's so good.
I knew so many girls who had weird
Yeah.
Barbies.
My favorite character just it has to be Alan. It has to
Yeah,
be
I do love Alan.
it has to be Michael Cera as the only self-aware uh, character in the Barbie world. He's the only one that hears the narrator and speaks with the narrator, uh, and he actually cares, which is nice. But all of the different Kens I find to be absolutely hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah, Ryan Gosling being just
perfect. Yeah,
perfect in his role.
I wish he
Um,
had a chance of being of winning best supporting actor, but he's not going to get
yes,
it.
he's not going to, but he deserves everything. I love that Ken decided to not care about the patriarchy after he learned that it was
Well, no,
it,
it
it
wasn't
didn't
really
have
about
it
horses.
wasn't about
So I
horses.
became less interested.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is, I love like the rest. Like I love Issa Rae as President
Oh,
Barbie.
so
President
good.
Barbie, like I think she plays her role probably like more committed than I think most people.
Hmm.
And that's not like to dig at anybody else. I think Emerald Fennel as Midge is one of my favorite, like little like I laughed so hard
I
in those
forgot
in like
about
the two
Midge for
mentions
just
of
a second.
Midge. I think uh, like Alexander Shipp was fun. Like okay, whenever like there were
Simu
some
was great.
yeah, but whenever they were they did I've watched them behind the scenes and they were like, well, we've always been told like Margot Robbie and Emma Mackey look kind of similar, and they're like, yeah, but the thing is, they really don't. No, they put them in different hair color because they
They look so
they've
similar.
uh, I will say, and I've got nothing against Hari Neff, but Hari Neff has like my least favorite part of the movie
Dr. Barbie.
whenever she yells. It's like I hated it the first time. I hated it less each time I've seen it, but it was like the only annoying part of the movie to me. But I loved everybody like working with each other. The best person to watch though, like just in
John Cena as
how they
Kin Maid.
react to Ryan's kin. Kingsley Ben Adir as like his
So good.
second is one of like just watch him in the background because he is like in love with Ryan
Oh,
Kin.
he absolutely is. He 100% is in love with Ryan.
And then also like Rhea Perlman's great. I love the
Oh yeah,
narration from
Rhea's
Helen
great.
Mirren.
You know,
Um,
Rhea has won 4 Emmys for Cheers.
oh, how many seasons was that? Oh, I mean,
Taxi, he won one.
yeah, for Taxi. Oh, how many? Yeah,
Taxi, how many seasons was that? 5.
5. Oh, and you won and you guys were up here. You got nominated. Yeah, 4 times. Uh,
God. Anyway, I love Ncuti Gatwa as well.
yeah,
He's
yeah, the new Doctor. I
yeah.
loved him, and then you have Scott Evans, Chris Evans's brother. Yeah, you mentioned Simu. I think just the entire cast was a ton of Nick. I wish there was a little bit more from Nicola Coughlan. Kind of like, I mean, even though it was a bad movie, and I guarantee you, Flash is not going to be on your list either.
No. No, it's not.
Saoirse Monica was didn't have a giant role in the Flash movie, and that kind of made me sad, and kind of made me sad that Nicola didn't have a giant role in this either. But I get it; it's fine.
Will Ferrell as the CEO of Mattel,
Yeah,
fantastic. Uh,
the movie overall, like I never had the smile leave my face until I started
no,
crying from
that's what I was.
America
Yeah,
Ferrera.
that's what I was getting ready to say. Like, I had a smile on my face the entire time I was watching this film, and the music's great. How it's shot is great. When they are traveling from and back to Barbie World
Yes,
is fantastic. Um, the little moments of self parody and meta jokes throughout are great. The ending made me crack up laughing because I didn't know where they were taking it, and
yeah,
then
neither did I.
and then when we find
That
out that
sting at
she's
the
there,
end,
when she's there for her OBGYN.
yeah, it was fantastic. I like
Yeah. So I cannot.
I love the journey that we went on
Yeah,
with the
I
movie.
cannot love this movie more than I do because
Yeah,
it is just a blast to watch.
I love
And
this.
Greta Gerwig deserves all the freaking credit. Greta should be nominated for a freaking Oscar for this film.
This might win for best adapted screenplay. They
Maybe.
wanted the original screenplay, but unfortunately, because it's an existing IP, they're going to get adapted. So kind of sucks.
Yeah. So I
But they might have a better chance in adapted.
yeah. And I hate to say this, but I don't want a sequel to this. I
No.
want this to be standalone. I want this said everything it needed to say. Please do not make this some kind of
Oh yeah,
Mattel universe.
Mattel like immediately right after like the first week announced pre-production of like 7 of their properties, and we're like, that's not what the point of the movie was. Did you watch the movie? Did you understand the
Did
movie?
you?
It's not,
Because you obviously didn't understand the movie.
yeah,
So yeah, Barbie.
loved it.
Cannot recommend it enough. I'm guessing this was your number 3 as well.
3.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, go watch this. My God, It's on Netflix and Max right now, I believe.
I wish it were higher.
And
That's the
Drew,
whole thing.
you are Knuff.
I am. The ballet too with the Kins
Oh,
when they sing "I'm Just Ken" is also
I'm
just
just
one of the
kidding.
greatest
Yep.
productions I've ever watched. Uh,
And can I just thank God for the Ryan Gosling just explosion we've had over the last like 5 years?
and also just allowing him to be like kind of weird and fun
Yes,
because he's
because
good
he's
at
really
it.
good at it. He's
It
really good at it.
and I think they're finally kind of capitalizing on it. Like because
I
that
think
that
it's
other that movie with is it Bryce Dallas Howard or no? That's Argyle. Which one? Emily Blunt, right? He has that movie with Emily Blunt coming out, right?
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of started with
Nice Guys, maybe.
Nice Guy. Oh, he was hilarious in Nice Guys, but kind of Crazy Stupid Love.
Yeah, a little
Like
bit. Yeah, I
you
get
know,
that.
so he's always had this gravitas to him, like that it factor, and he gets
David
to
Lindhagen.
yeah, he gets to just be really fucking hilarious in this movie, and he's awesome. I want more of that in my life. Him and Chris Pine need to do a movie together, is what needs to happen,
That's
and
too
then the
much.
world will explode.
That's too much. If they do like the next, no, never mind. That's a bad idea.
The
Yeah,
next Dungeons and Dragons movie with Chris Pine and Ryan Gosling.
but I love people just being weird now, and that's a
Yeah,
lot of fun.
I love it. Just being themselves. So number 3 on both of our lists,
Okay,
Barbie. Drew, what do you have at number 2?
we're gonna take a break
Oh, okay.
because I'm sorry. Hey Nick, we're back
I
to
feel
ruin
like
your
I'm about to be
day.
sad.
Hey Nick, my number two movie is your number one movie.
Oh man.
You want to say it? It
Oppenheimer.
sure is. Do you want to
It is
talk
my
about
number
what's
one
your
film.
favorite movie?
Oh,
Is it your
listen,
favorite movie because you didn't see
it
my favorite movie? No I'm kidding.
I mean maybe, who knows.
No, I think this would still be your favorite movie. I don't know if Poor Things would make your list.
I
You have to accept a lot, and it like I,
I
and
get it.
it's also just like I know your vibe,
I love him,
and you'd like
Emma
it, but
Stone, and I'm sure I would love the
you'd
movie.
like the movie, but I don't think it'd be top 10 worthy for
Gotcha.
you.
So Oppenheimer. Um,
Oh my god, Oppenheimer! Like what amazing score.
this this was like a religious experience. Stepping into that IMAX theater and watching this film, the sound, not just the score, not just the music, the sound design in this
Yes,
movie is second to none. This is the most Christopher Nolan anything has ever been, ever.
and you know what?
Um,
It finally got to star his day one guy.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Cillian Murphy puts on a clinic in this movie. He just encompasses the character. Uh, I love how it is shot. I love the from his perspective, from the present day to Robert Downey Jr.'s perspective, and how the camera works different in each part of that movie,
Yeah,
dependent on whose perspective and what time it is in the timeline. I love
I believe everything in black and white is
is Robert Downey Jr.'s.
subject. No, that's subjective because that's all like
Yes,
logged and everything, and
yes,
everything that's in color is objective.
yes. Um, but everything that's in black and white happens to be from the perspective of Robert Downey Jr., and everything in
Yes,
color happens to be from the perspective of Cillian Murphy.
yeah.
Um, the
It's so
performances
good.
the performances in this film, from top billing all the way down to the freaking guy who plays Einstein
Yeah.
are amazing. Downey Jr. deserves to win the Oscar for this. Like, I truly believe that. Um,
Competition is Ryan Gosling.
yeah. Uh, Matt Damon may be my favorite part of this movie, just because he
He
is
is so
also
Matt
his
Damon.
most Matt Damon.
He is such an intense Matt Damon.
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
and I wouldn't want it any other way because he like that's kind of what you need out of. Was he a general or I don't know what he was.
I believe
Listening
he was a
Crows.
colonel when it started out, and then he became
To
like a
general.
brigadier. He became like a brigadier general throughout the process.
Okay.
Um,
But
but no,
he has to
yeah,
have that passion to
yeah,
get these people assembled. Basically, this is science Avengers. Uh,
yeah. It kind of is. Um, I mean, this is a heavy subject matter.
yeah,
This is about pulling in scientists from all over the world to create a weapon of mass destruction.
one of the most important
And
creations of all
yeah,
time.
this is the Manhattan Project from start to finish, and it deals with communism and suspected communism and suicide, or was it a suicide? It deals with scientists being
Repercussions.
under the thumb of government, and it's just it has so much lifting that it does, heavy lifting, and it makes it through with flying colors, and that
No hiccups. No
no,
hiccups.
the scene where they are testing the bomb, the Trinity test,
Yes.
is one of the most awe-inspiring moments in a movie that I've seen in the last 2 decades minimum.
I haven't watched the movie since I saw it in IMAX, but I did watch, like, I think just this past week on Twitter, they had a screening of the movie with a live symphony orchestra who was playing
Oh.
it, and they showed the Trinity test.
Mhm,
And I did end up watching like the entire like 3 minute long scene of
mhm,
that Trinity test just
mhm.
with that symphony orchestra. And just whenever it goes silent, is so man like that's where the sound like
The sound
where
cuts out, yeah.
the score and sound design really come together and create something impactful. So like
And
like through
yeah,
obviously the visual, obviously what's happening, but also it's kind of a reflection of where everything's going. So
yeah. And then the stinger at the end, the capper on this, with Oppenheimer and Einstein speaking. That like that scene, it's so simple, but it gives me goosebumps every time. Like I've watched it in the home theater, um, just last week, in fact, and it just as piercing as it was in the movie theater. Um, Basically, just saying we've unleashed hell.
yeah,
You know, we've unleashed the potential destruction of the world,
pretty much. And then
and
also just like the
I
kind
am
of
become
just like the
death, destroyer of worlds.
it's that scene especially where he says the potential of igniting the atmosphere is near zero.
Is near zero. Yes.
What do you mean it's near
Near
zero?
zero.
It's fantastic. Also, you know what? This award season has also there's been some Dave Krumholtz erasure. Where's the Dave Krumholtz love this year?
He's buying a Toyota.
He it's
He's
herself.
buying a Tercel. It's a
It's
Toyota.
a Toyota. I have a dick drawn on my face.
He will never, ever, ever be too cool to not have that brought up.
But
Is all
he's
I'm
the
saying.
greatest. Like he's
Oh, I
so
love him.
great.
I think he is such a great actor. But he
I
is also
love
in 10 Things I Hate About You, and he was fantastic in it.
thinking about buying a Tercel. It's a Toyota.
It's
Yeah,
a
that's a
Toyota.
Toyota. You and I have been saying, like, I think that's where
We've
you
been
and I knew we were like best friends.
we've been saying that like 20 years.
Almost.
Yeah. But yeah, no, everybody who could get an award from this movie should fucking get an award because
Yeah.
it's that good.
Emily Blunt is fantastic, especially like whenever she find like after the hearings in that one room,
Oh God,
just her body language was so fantastic
she
that it,
plays two distinct characters within 5 seconds of each other.
and then she just destroys that guy.
Yes.
And it's and people whenever people were complaining that it was the most like displaced like sex scene in a movie, no, it was
No.
like that's how she sees her husband. That's
Yeah.
like that's what she sees when like
Yeah.
especially whenever it's brought up. That's what she sees,
Yep. Yeah.
and it's it. But the thing is, she stands by him. I don't know. I love this movie, and also I got to bring it up. My favorite guy from Sex Drive is in this. Josh Zucker like has one of like the first lines in the movie too. He's close to
Oh,
one of the first lines in like he's he's Oppenheimer's first pupil,
I cannot
not pupil
believe
like a student.
I cannot believe I didn't bring this up. We got to bring this up. Josh Hartnett is
Yeah,
fantastic in this movie.
he's great. Like the thing is like there's so like Florence Pugh in a limited amount of screen time is also so fucking good too.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, like but yeah. Wait, who did Josh Hartnett? It's like I'm happy Josh Hartnett's back.
Yeah.
I like the Josh Hartnett that like I think the scene has kind of changed where you're allowed to have a little bit more normal of a life. I think like when he was in his early 20s, I think that was just a little overwhelming and I can get it. But you know what? He's like a full-fledged like
Human being.
man now.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get some more Josh Hartnett back.
I hope so. I hope so. He's
And he
actually
was
a really good
fantastic.
actor.
He was fantastic in the movie.
I agree. Man, Oppenheimer's so damn good.
It really, I mean, and you can keep going down the cast, like David
Yeah.
Desmalkian, Dane DeHaan ends up being like a very important character. I love seeing Josh Peck, Jack Quaid was in it.
Jack
Benny
Quaid, yeah.
Safdie was like chewing some scenery.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rami Malek becomes incredibly important at the end too.
Yeah.
Uh, and then so did Alden Ehrenreich. This movie was so good. I really need to rewatch it.
Yeah. You absolutely did. Do. Excuse me. It is well worth a rewatch.
Man, it is a 10 out of 10 in my book too. So,
Oh, absolutely. This is a perfect movie.
but but you want to know what I also have as a 10 out of 10?
Let's hear it. Your
Poor
number one
Things.
film.
My God, it. I don't know why. It's just like, well, it's Emma Stone's performance in general. It's she without ruining too much for you. Like it's like a fresh mind in a body that is
This is a Yorgos film, isn't it?
yes. It's
Oh,
kind of hard.
so
It's kind of hard for me to
Yorgos is
explain
so weird.
without ruining it. It's kind of hard for me to explain it without ruining it. It's a fresh life in a already prepared body, and what the possibilities are, and the limit of acceptance, and the limit of like you have like a head start. She kind of has like a head like Emma Stone's character kind of has a head start, but is it's she's obviously like it's a fresh new like mind. It's it's so hard to explain without ruining. Uh, but it's visually just one of the most beautiful movies I've ever watched. Because it's through the mind of kind of like a child, where like all these settings are so beautiful, and maybe that's not how it actually looks. Maybe that's just the way she sees it. But the thing is with Emma Stone playing Bella Baxter, and I've seen some of the criticism, and this is my answer to it. Bella Baxter always wins. Nobody ever gets a one up on Bella Baxter, and that's kind of the important. That's the message. That's because she's strong, and she's strong because she accepts things. She's strong because she sees things from like everybody. She thinks everybody thinks the way that she thinks, and which is optimistic. And that's kind of her strength. It's but her thirst for knowledge and to continue to learn, but also accepting what she likes and that she can earn and prepare a better life because of what she likes, is kind of inspirational in a weird way, but also, like I said, I think it's one of the best performances I've ever watched, with Emma Stone as Bella Baxter. I did not originally love Mark Ruffalo as I watched the movie, but once, like in retrospect, and I was thinking about the movie further, and then I watched him behind the scenes, I enjoyed his performance more.
Mhm.
Um, it's such a great movie. It lived up to all expectations. I didn't watch a single clip of this movie, but I knew it was Yorgos. I knew it was Emma Stone, who is an actor that I do like a lot. Like I never really like was like an Emma Stone, like, oh, I need to go see an Emma Stone movie because it's an Emma Stone movie. I like Emma Stone.
Mhm.
But it was just I know the directors that I love,
Mhm.
and if they're going to have a movie in theater, I owe it to myself to go see it. That's why, like movies like Killers of the Flower Moon, I'm not like dedicated to Martin Scorsese,
Yeah.
so me not seeing that in theater doesn't really bother me. Me not seeing it at all doesn't really bother me. But people like this year specifically, a Yorgos, a Christopher Nolan movie, a Greta Gerwig movie, which I'm going to be thinking of from now on, a guy who did the Paddington movies. That's why I watched them. He did Wonka. I'm going to see those. Uh, and then Emerald Fennell. I want to watch the stuff that she makes because
Yes.
I loved Promising Young Woman so much. So and I loved Saltburn.
Oh,
So
Promising Young Woman is so freaking good.
and then James Gunn. I want to see the people that I love. I want to see their movies
Yeah.
in theater if they're going to be there.
Because because we enjoy their vision.
Yeah. Because like also I didn't go see Bo is Afraid, and then also the thing is with what's his name, Ari Aster, the only movie I saw in theater of his that was Hereditary. I didn't
Mhm.
see Midsummer in theater. I didn't see Bo
Oh,
is Afraid in theater.
yeah.
I love Midsummer. I still need to see Bo is Afraid, but those are some things that I kind of regret because I could have seen it. I had every opportunity to, but now like whenever there's a director that I love, I'm gonna make sure I give myself a chance to go see it. Also, I saw a Miyazaki movie, Blue Boy in the Heron didn't make on that list, but because there's a new Miyazaki movie, I had to give
I had
myself
to go
the
see it. Yeah.
yeah. So I this was just a great year of movies, and one of the guys that we follow on TikTok and everything, where he like ranks movies and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, him and I very drastic differences in a lot of
Different
things,
tastes, yeah.
but yeah, I mean I forgot where I was going with that entire point, but it's fine.
He really liked Poor Things, so that might be where you're going.
No, it wasn't that. Screw it. I'll delete that from. All right, but Nick, what did you see this year that didn't quite make your list?
Oh man.
Actually, hold up. Before we do that,
Okay.
let's go. That was great. Oh yeah, he put 2023 as the best year of movies in the last 5 years, and I kind of agree with him.
I kind of do, yeah.
There we
I
go. Now I don't
I
have to
kind
delete
of
all
do.
of that.
Um things that didn't quite make
Oh
my
no.
list.
What's your top 10?
Oh, my top 10, excuse me. 10, Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves. 9, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. 8, Air. 7, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. 6, Evil Dead Rise. 5, John Wick Chapter 4. 4 Across the Spider-Verse, 3 Barbie, 2 Godzilla minus 1, and 1 Oppenheimer.
I love it. All right. My number 8 was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. My number 9 was Saltburn. My number 8 was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. My number 7 was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. My number 6 was Wonka. My number 5 was Godzilla minus 1. My number 4 was Talk to Me. My number 3 was Barbie. My number 2 was Oppenheimer. And my number 1 movie of 2023 was Poor Things.
I'm glad that you had something different at the top. Like, I really need to see Poor Things. I love Emma Stone, so I think it is well worth the time and the effort to see it for sure.
I think it's finally moving to closer theater. I think it's kind of hitting some theaters it originally didn't hit.
Gotcha. Things that I saw last year that didn't make my list. It's gonna be very odd. The No Hard Feelings, the kind of rom-com with
so
J-Law. Yeah, it's very funny. Just not in the top 10. Did not get to put this on my list, but Self-Reliance is actually a really fun movie.
I need to watch it. I've been watching Michael. I've been watching his interviews. I haven't watched his movie.
Yeah, it was really good. It just again didn't make my list. The Creator, I think, was very. I watched The Creator. I don't know if I would call it a good movie or not.
It's been showing up on Hulu, and I need to watch it.
It is.
And I like John David Washington.
I love John David Washington. Gareth Edwards has some great films that he's done. I just. I don't know.
Didn't hit.
No, it was just very cookie cutter, but visually beautiful.
Nice.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny was, well, it was better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and that's the nicest thing I can say about it. Trying to think. I really enjoyed The Killer with Michael Fassbender.
I still need to watch that.
It's well worth your time. Super Mario Brothers movie was super fun. Just didn't make my list. I'm very surprised that Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning didn't make either of our lists. Maybe for me, it's just not as good as the last 2 Mission Impossible movies.
I think it's a great setup for the next one. I think that's all it is. It's just it feels just like a setup for the next one, and I think that's the problem. It's kind of like I feel like the feeling that you had for the DC movies, where you're like, I think people know that none of these movies matter, that's kind of how, like, the way you equated that. That's how I feel about this. That this one is just like, okay, we know there's a second one, and it's like,
yeah.
This one just like, and I love the of course Tom Cruise is fantastic. Haley Atwell and Palm were great additions. I really enjoyed Palm just kind of eating the scenery whenever she was fighting. So I love that. But yeah, it just didn't make my list.
I would say the last 2 that I guess maybe should have had a chance to make the top 10. I'm obviously a huge Wes Anderson guy. Asteroid City was fun. It just, I don't know.
It didn't feel like anything.
It didn't feel like anything. It wasn't. It's definitely like at the bottom of my Wes Anderson list, and then Bottoms.
Yeah, I love Bottoms. It just didn't nail the landing to me.
It didn't nail the landing.
I watched,
but it is a ton of freaking fun.
All right, if I can talk about some of the. You didn't watch The Holdovers, did you?
I did not get a chance to. It is on Peacock? Okay, well, I'll have to check it out.
I think you'll like it. I like it. People love it because it's Alexander Payne and it's Paul Giamatti, and I get it. You guys love those people, but you know what? It didn't, like, it felt like nothing to me. Like, nothing distinguished it away from anything else for me. I was just so bored with it by the time that they finally started getting to the meat of it. I was just like ready for it to be over. Like, people have been saying like it's kind of like a really big hit at the very end. We're like, oh my god, that. but at that point, I was just so bored and ready for it to be done that
Okay.
I didn't love it. And I understand the story that it's trying to tell, and I love Paul Giamatti and Divine Joy Randolph, who has won awards. I think she
Hmm.
might get the Oscar. Is very deserving of it. She's the best part of the movie. It's just the big name in the movie is Paul Giamatti, and
Sure.
that automatically triggers the voters, and he's going to be like the demographic age of most of those voters.
Hmm.
So people love the holdovers. I
Sure.
don't. I think it's good. It's just not great to me.
Good, not
But
great.
I liked it, and I love Paul Giamatti. Uh, Anyone but you. Let's talk about anyone but you right after the holdovers. It is an honorable mention because it is so damn funny. It's so funny because sometimes it's bad, and then it addresses the fact that it's bad. So I loved anyone but you. I loved it more than the holdovers, soon to be
Oscar
Oscar
nominated.
nominated best
Yeah.
picture movie. I loved anyone. I would see anyone but you 3 or 4 times again before I'd consider watching the holdovers again. Okay. uh Other bad movies, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom,
Oh,
not very good. The
The
Iron
Flash,
Claw, the Iron
bad.
Claw was great. Made me cry 2 times in the last 10 minutes. It was fantastic. Um, Maestro was not great. It was boring. May December is really good. Uh, yeah, it's really good. Julianne Moore, Natalie Portman, and the guy are so good in the movie. It's not
Yeah.
it's not top 10 for me. The Boy and the Heron, really good. Not my favorite Miyazaki. Uh, which I think that's fair. You mentioned Super Mario Brothers. Thanksgiving, I didn't love, but I guess if you love old school slashers, you might like it. I guess I'm just not an old school slasher fan. Um, yeah, you mentioned No Hard Feelings. Gran Turismo was a lot of fun. I actually really loved Gran Turismo more than I expected. Leo wasn't
Yeah, no,
great.
that movie was better than it had any reason being.
Yeah, and David Harbour does help. I mean,
Yes,
he's a big,
absolutely.
but the kid is good, and he's also in Saltburn, and that's good. Um, the Marvels was okay. I liked it more than Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Renfield was fun. Infinity Pool had potential. I just didn't love it. Shazam was bad. It
Bad.
and I love Rachel Zegler, and I only really know her from West Side Story, but I'm not also a Hunger Games person, so I didn't go see those. That and she would be the only thing that would get me to the theater, but nah. Uh, No One Will Save You was really good. The Outlaws with Adam. I'm just an Adam Devine guy. Last
Hmm.
Voyage of the Demeter was okay. Ant-Man and Quantum Mania, I liked it
I
more than
enjoyed
I
it.
think most people.
I
Most
enjoyed
people I
it.
feel like just want to bitch about it for some reason.
Yeah, yeah.
Scream 6 was good, not great. If I could recommend a movie, and I think it's on Hulu, Theater Camp is a lot of fun. Not the Knock at the Cabin was a little boring. They Clone Tyrone was really good.
They clone Tyrone is excellent.
You got anything else? I've still got more.
No, go ahead.
The Blackening I wish was better. Um, I it just didn't. Maybe I'm not the right audience for it, but I went in with the most open mind as possible. I went in as a comedy. I went in for a satire. I went in for a horror. It just didn't hit me. And also that just did my guy dirty in that movie. I didn't like how he acted in that movie. Megan was boring. Oh, speaking of boring, I got this to get off my chest. I watched this week and it was so boring. I wanted it to be. It took me 2 tries to watch this movie. Leave the World Behind with Julia Roberts
So bad.
Mahershala Ali. I was so bored. And like, thank God at the end of that movie the little girl finally got to see the series finale of Friends. That's the best part of the movie, is the fact that she found a DVD of it. Also, did you watch the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
What they didn't answer anything about the deer. That's all I wanted. That's all
No
I
idea.
wanted. Like, at one point, that was the only reason why I was still watching the movie. It was just like, I get on the brink of World War III. Something's happening. Also, why did the kid's teeth fall out? Why just his?
I don't know. Like, I literally don't know.
I don't know if a movie's made me more mad recently. I'm sure there are.
I did not enjoy that movie,
I was
like, at
so
all.
bored. I'm sure I would be bored of Killers of the Flower Moon. I might just put it on at some point. Ferrari, I want to go see. Boys on the Boat, I want to go see. Color Purple, I want to go see.
Yeah, I really want to see Color Purple.
I need to see Priscilla. I need to watch The Killer. I need to watch A Haunting in Venice. I've heard it's actually really good.
Same.
American Fiction. I don't think I've had a chance, but All of Us Strangers, The Zone of Interest, I want to see. I still need to watch Elemental and When the Evil Lurks. Yeah, I mean, there's movies still to see, but I think I did a
Yeah.
really good job this
Yeah.
year.
There were some great films in 2023. 2023 was a surprisingly great year of movies.
Yeah.
Especially after, 2020, 2021, those weren't great years. 2022 was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, the highs were real high, the lows were real low.
Yeah.
2023, I feel like starting to get the swing of things back. I'm actually hoping that since the strikes are over, that 2024 comes out swinging with high quality movies that we haven't seen in a while. Like, I feel like now that people are getting paid better, that they have benefits, that these studios can have learned they can kiss our ass. That I'm hopeful.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this year of movies. I haven't even kind of looked at the slate. I've only seen like Bloomhouse like posted like a marquee of what movies that they're putting out this year, which I was like, oh, this is handy. They're putting out 6, which, I mean, that might be a lot for a studio. I don't know. Maybe is that a lot for a studio? Maybe a small studio. I don't know.
I don't know.
But
I feel like A24 puts out 37 movies a year sometimes. So,
but they buy good quality, and then
They do.
those are usually like the director's vision, the director and writer's vision. That's why those
Sure.
movies are so much better than the other ones, because they're not like industry notes one after the other. They're
Sure.
just like, that's why Talk to Me, they gave them 0 notes. They're like, we want the movie that you want to make, because they took it to Sundance and it got bought by A24. And whenever they got bought, they're like, what do you want us to do? Do you need us to change anything? And they're like, no, we want that movie. What do you need from us? They're like, okay, well, we need this much more money for maybe a reshoot and to clean some things up. And they're like, perfect. And that movie is 100% those guys' movie. That's why A24 movies are like, I'm sure they give notes. I'm sure they do, but they're like, no, we want the movie we saw that we bought. We want that. We want you. So it should be that guy, Movies Are Therapy, Kit Laser, whatever his name is, with the A24 hat.
Yeah. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed 2023. Looking forward to 2024. Man, movies are fun again.
Yeah. I don't know what is coming out this year.
Well, we get another Mission Impossible this year.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with it though, because officially Dead Reckoning Part 1 has been redubbed just Dead Reckoning. So that's going to be interesting. We get a new Matthew Vaughn movie.
Yeah, Argyle.
In Argyle that's coming out at the beginning of February.
Madam Web.
Dune
Dune
Part 2.
Imaginary.
I think Imaginary looks like it's going to be fun.
Kung Fu Panda 4. Probably not going to
Ghost
watch this Arthur movie with
no
with Mark Wahlberg.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire comes out
I
in
think we're looking at the
March.
same article.
We
Actually,
are Godzilla X Kong.
Civil War, where California and Texas are a team.
I'm in. Like, this is Alex Garland, Kirsten Dunst,
Oh, the guys who did Ready or
Jesse
Not.
Plemons, Nick Offerman.
The guys who did Ready or Not did Abigail. It's a where they like during a heist they kidnap this like little ballerina girl and turns out she's a vampire. I haven't watched the trailer for it, but I'm looking forward to it.
We get a new Guy Ritchie movie, which I enjoy Guy Ritchie. So, um,
Yeah,
the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, starring Henry Cavill. Zendaya has a new movie coming out in
Challengers.
April.
I'm looking forward to that one.
I really want to see The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. I don't care how stupid it looks; it still looks amazing.
Furiosa, Inside Out 2.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting year. I don't know if this is going to be a great year. I think this is going to be
I think time
not
will
a
tell.
not a ton of movies are going to come out this year.
I mean, we are getting like quite a few sequels to known IP coming out this year as
Twisters,
well. Twisters, Despicable Me 4, Deadpool 3 will
be
apparently be out in July of this year.
be the biggest movie of the year probably.
Yeah, and Fetty's Alien movie is supposed to come out in August of this year.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice 2 is supposed to come out this year. Joker 2 is supposed to come out this year. Terrifier 3, Venom 3, Gladiator 2, the first half of Wicked.
A
So,
Wolfman
like,
movie with Leah Winnell directing.
yeah. So, the Mufasa prequel movie, Sonic the Hedgehog
Yeah,
3.
you can pass me with that one.
You know, I am
Dude,
looking. I am
okay,
looking forward to Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, though.
I
Like,
I will say
Robert Eggers, I love.
I'm
Like
not
The
interested.
Lighthouse, The Witch, The Northman. Like, all of these were awesome.
Yeah,
And Bill Skarsgård as Nosferatu is going to be awesome.
I agree. Um, I don't know. I think it's 2025. We're getting the Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein movie, but also I'm not interested in this movie even a little bit. But a new Karate Kid movie with Jackie Chan with Ralph Macchio. So those universes
Combining.
my God, all like they finally got it all. They finally did it all.
They finally did it.
From a little show on YouTube to
do we know if Beyond the Spider Verse is coming out in 2024, or did that get pushed to 2025?
who knows? Honestly,
Okay.
yeah. Like they said there might be a delay, but they haven't made an official delay to 2025 yet.
Okay.
They're holding their date, but yeah.
Okay.
All right, Nick. Man, oh damn, I can't almost fell out of my chair. No, like part of it broke. So if I lean one way, I will fall out.
Gotcha.
So Nick, I always love talking to you. I love finally talking about 2023. Do we want to talk about 96 or do we want to spend?
Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Let's do it next week.
96.
1996,
right.
Which, by the way,
Not great.
very tough year to grade.
I'm not going to make any more effort on this year. What we have is what we get. I'm not making any more. Like I'm not going to stress about this.
You don't throw a fit.
Stress about watching any more movies from 1990s. I'm not going to. No, it does not. You have, like, in the words of Jennifer Carpenter from Labyrinth, you have no power over me. Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am absolutely with you.
I watched some of them that I should have, and I'm not watching no more. 1996. Okay. Let's do it. All right.
Let's do it. All right. Well, I will see you next week, I'm sure.
Yes.
Or, as you would say,
I'll see you next Tuesday or Thursday, whatever. We do this on Thursdays, so why have I continued with? Actually, I don't think I have. See you next Thursday.
Love you.
Love you too, man. I'm not going to end the whole thing. I'm just going to stop it.